There's still one outstanding question from the 2024 election. Who will control the House of Representatives? Here with the latest, we've got our very own Ben Werschkul. Ben, thanks so much for joining us this morning. If you take a look at betting markets, they're pricing in about an 80% chance of a full red sweep. What do we know so far about where the House race stands?
Yeah, those odds sound about right. So the magic number for Republicans in the House is 218 seats, and they have 214 seats at the moment. Of the 18 remaining races, the Republicans are ahead in 8 of them. So that gives you a good sense that they're on the inside track here for what's being called a GOP trifecta: the White House, the Senate, and the House of Representatives. And basically, the Republican leadership has already essentially laid out their plans, assuming they get this trifecta. And so what we're looking at now is sort of what the first 100 days of the Trump administration would look like, which could be much more active if obviously if Republicans are in full control of all those kind of levers of power in Washington. The big one that they're talking about is taxes. We've been talking about this, the tax debate coming next year. What a trifecta would mean is essentially the tax debate becomes less of a total Trump first year agenda item and becomes into a Trump first 100 days agenda item. It's a complicated process. Reconciliation is what it's called, but they're really aiming to kind of muscle it through quickly if they can get these last 4 seats. The other thing to underline is that these are any scenario here is a very slim GOP majority. 218 seats out of a 435-seat chamber is very slim, so there'll be a lot of debates within the GOP about their priorities, and anyone that's kind of opposed to certain tax provisions, for example, could raise their voice and have a lot more power there too. One other agenda item to flag is energy. That's going to be a big one for the first 100 days, assuming the GOP trifecta comes into place. The question being, the House leaders are already promising big bills to kind of open up fossil fuel drilling. The question is, how hard do they go against the green energy credits in the Inflation Reduction Act that Joe Biden signed into law? In other words, how much do they go after green energy versus support clean fossil fuels?
Yeah, Ben, I think a lot of that could also be told by who is picked for Trump's cabinet. That obviously has been something that has certainly been the focus over the weekend. Where do things stand now?
So we've only had a few. The one today is Elise Stefanik of New York is going to be the UN ambassador. That comes after Susie Wiles was named as the chief of staff. And Susie Wiles is the big one because that opens up kind of all the other positions: Treasury Secretary, Commerce Secretary, his Trump's major economic advisors on that one. So that's the one watching most closely here for Yahoo Finance. And those could be soon. Those could be this week. Those could be next week. Traditionally, it happens in November, so they could be very soon. And there's a lot of names there among Trump kind of loyalists, the could be there. John Paulson is one who's talked about Treasury. Scott Besson is another sort of Trump loyalist who's going to be in the mix for something. So the economic folks are coming, and they should be coming soon.